Baruch Hashem. Welcome, we're live. So we're learning a Hanukkah Maimer in which the Alter Rebbe discusses the deeper significance of Hanukkah, what it represents, some basic questions that you may have asked yourself. We're going to discuss them now in the context of Hanukkah. So the Alter Rebbe brings B'chafei B'Kislev from the Talmud, from the Gemara, that on the 25th of Kislev, Yemid the Hanukkah, is the days of Hanukkah. What's the history of the story of Hanukkah? When the Yevanim came into the Beis Hamikdash, and when the home of the Chashmonaim overpowered the Nitzchum, and the Chashmonaim were victorious over the Greeks, who tried, in short, to stop the Jewish people from serving Hashem, for doing mitzvahs, and for associating themselves with a connection with the religion of Judaism. The house of the Chashmonaim, also known as the Maccabees, they defeated them. They come to the Beis Hamikdash, and all they found was one jug of oil. And as we know, it lasted for 8 days, even though it was only enough for one night. And the Shana Acheres, the following year, our sages established this as a day for Yom Tov, 8 days to celebrate and praise Hashem and thank Him. So number one, we have to understand what's the idea of praising and acknowledging Hashem. What's the concept? Hanukkah celebrated, we say Hallel a whole week, every single day, the entire Hallel. Okay, it's important, but what's the deeper concept behind that? The Gam Lahav, we also have to understand. Also, why did they establish regarding this miracle? The way we're going to celebrate is we're going to light candles to remember the Beis Hamikdash, or the menorah that was in the Beis Hamikdash, because they found a achshem. We have this very important symbol. A symbol is a bad word because it sounds like all it is a symbol. But we have a very important act, a mitzvah that we do, lighting a menorah to remember the menorah of the Beis Hamikdash, and there was a challenge to light it. And finally, we got it back. And when we didn't have enough oil. And the oil that we had only lasted for one night, the whole thing. So we took one aspect of the whole Hanukkah, and we turned that into the main celebrations, light a menorah. What about everything else? How come we didn't do anything else for other things that happened in the Beis Hamikdash, which were also taken from us? We also won a war, which was a very difficult war, and it's miraculous on many levels, like supernatural. That a small group of untrained, unarmed, basically no match for the Assyrian Greeks at the time. To say that we could win over them is beyond, it's huge, it's miraculous. And to say that we're able to, obviously it's a huge miracle, but what we're celebrating is the menorah part as opposed to anything else. Why? Okay, so question one is what's the idea of Hallel and Haidah, the idea of praising and acknowledging Hashem, what's it really about? And two is why specifically about the menorah, the oil, as opposed to the rest of the miracles that happened. So Rabbi explains that Shlomo Malach says, "Kiner mitzvah v'Torah," or a candle is a mitzvah and Torah is its light. It's not just what's a candle. A candle represents something very deep. It's a Torah mitzvah aspect that we have with Hashem, and not just Torah mitzvahs, but it is the fact that the mitzvah is the candle, the Torah is the component, the fuel, the light, not the fuel, the light that comes out of the mitzvah, and the candles are not just a symbol. So if you want to understand this, he says, let's understand what's the idea altogether of lighting a menorah in the Beis Hamikdash. Does Hashem really need light? We need some more light in this temple. Let's get LEDs. No, let's light a menorah. What's the idea of why are we doing that? By the way, yesterday we were learning about electric. If God forbid someone's in the hospital, or for good reasons, having a baby, whatever it is, according to some opinions, lighting an electric candelabra in certain extreme situations could work, but you don't make a bracha on it. It's very important. It's not. It doesn't work for LED because that's really not. It doesn't have that fire component. Totally different. It doesn't. Different. So I'm told. It's a different mechanism altogether.
Flashlights have the way they're made. So they're made for rapid cooling because they do heat up. LEDs do heat up, and they produce light. So that's
I
I
don't.
don't understand principle difference.
Apparently, it's not. It's a very different type of. I can't tell you. I can make something up. I don't want
I know how diodes work.
to. Okay.
Light emitting diode conducts only one direction.
So to understand what's the concept of the menorah, why it's so important, and why we had it in the Beis Hamikdash in the first place, in order to understand what's special about what should I call it, about the menorah, why we made that the focus. Um, Look at the details of the instructions of how you light the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash. It says, "V'halais Aaron es haneres ben Rabbi miyaktira." No, Aaron lights the menorah. He lifts up, which is a way of saying kindling the candles in the evening. He should bring ktoiras, which is the incense offering. And in the morning, when he's making the candles good, yaktirena, he should bring ktoiras. So you have in the evening and in the morning. Now there's a difference between the way they lit the menorah at night and the way he did it in the morning. At night, he would light all 7 candles. Well, the machar in the morning. So at night you light all 7. It was not an eight candle menorah, and in the morning you light yes, 1. But in the morning you prepare it, you clean it, you make the wicks usable. But all you would light is the western candle, which is number 6, and from there he would start. From there it would end. It would get everything else. Why? So at night you light all 7. In the morning you only light the 6th one.
It's number 6. Why is it 6? Not 7. Not 7th one.
So the west one, which would be the far right. I don't know why he calls it 6. Because the center one, I'm not sure. So figure that one out. Now the candles of the menorah, which are 7, represent the 7 midos characteristics that a person has. We say this in davening, which is taken from Tehillim. Hashem Agdula V'Agvura. To you, Hashem is the midos that Hashem conveys godly energy into this world. It goes through a midos categorization, and there's 7 of them. So Hashem comes down, or the energy comes down, the revelation comes down, manifesting itself in a way of midas. Every person has it, the world has it, every level of spiritual worlds, physical worlds, you'll always find these 7 midas in it. And every person has it, although by some of us, certain ones are more dominant.
Midas or spheres?
Midas, which is a part of the spheres. 10 spheres, 3 of them would be intellectual, and 7 would be midas. These are the 7 candles which correspond to the 7 midas. So intellect is not there, as we'll say. That intellect is what illuminates these actual things. Every single midah has a counterpart in kedusha. Thank you. In klippa, and these klippa, they suckle and receive nourishment, existence, life from kedusha. This is all across the board. Whenever you have a powerful thing, you have technology. It's a great tool. You can accomplish a lot, holy-wise, and do good things. There's also, unfortunately, a counterpart to that, and there is, I'm going to call it the dark web. You don't have to go so dark to get to the negativity of the internet. It exists. Anything you have, television could be a good thing, could be a tool. The Rabbi did live hookups, right? The spreading Yiddishkeit and Chasidus to the masses in places which was normally not possible. So all these things are available, but whatever you have, you'll have a counterpart in Klippa. Now, how does Klippa, which is called loosely impurity, how does it have nourishment if it's going against everything that God stands for? So Hashem wanted balance in this world. You can't have a world and free choice if welcome, and expect balance and true free choice if one side is good and the other side is a failure. It looks and it feels like you could take another path in life. In other words, if anyone that was not honest was bankrupt, everyone would be honest. If anyone that was not friendly, just was miserable, etc. In other words, not you don't only find success in what doing the right thing. Obviously, ultimately, we know that's the case. But you have bad people who seem to have a good life, right? And it's just one example. The idea is that you have to have balance in this world, and therefore Hashem created a counterpart, an opposite to every single level of the midos. Now, but they get their sustenance from the leftover energy, light, fuel, life force of the holiness. So there is a chesed. On the way down, some of it is going to leak out, and the other side, which is klippa, impurity, unholiness, is going to get some of that. Okay, so he gives an example. You have one of the midah says ava, it's love. Love is a very positive thing, in a holy love, where you love the right things for the right reasons in a kosher way, and you want to help someone else out, you want to do something, you're there, you put yourself aside because you love the other person, and you selflessly what they need. It's not all about you, it's about them. You love Hashem, which is a very important thing, and you're dedicated to him, and you do what he wants with joy. As a result, there's a counterpart, and there's a love for things that are unproductive, unkosher, unhealthy, etc. Now, where did that come from? Because the emotion or the character of Ava, of love, exists. And when it exists in holiness, there's the ability for things to be misused or a little bit corrupted in the negative side. Hashem allowed for that to create balance. So I have chesed, and the person has this character of kindness, but as a result, he potentially has a tremendous amount of desire or love or taivus, we call it. Comes from there. And similarly, when you have this midah called awe or fear in a holy way, where you respect Hashem, and you have this awe for something which is greater than you, and you're dedicated to Hashem with a strong level of yira, as a result of that, you also have anger that could exist in a person. Bad fear. It's the same family of midah. It's angry. How could you have anger? It comes from, why did Hashem even fuel this thing? He gave energy for kedusha to go down, and he allowed it to drip out and be siphoned off in a way that is giving strength to the other side. Sipping out. What about the person that's receiving? He's not called sipping. He's called the tzarech levaderdam.
Мне надо подбежать к машине. Могу я так? Встала стоим.
Может, только осторожно, что там скользко и так далее.
Ну я понимаю.
Tzarech levaderdam. You have to refine it, ulahafcham, to transform it. The skal b'kedusha al yena, to be included in the holy kedusha. Shetiyana b'es kulan lavaya, v'chenas bitol, v'chashem chulu. However, our job is to take the negative side of these midas, which ended up, unfortunately, in energy in bad places, and to transform them. So we have ava in our psyche, in our makeup. It exists. There's going to be negative ava. There's going to be a love for things which are, forget not kosher, things that are not productive and have no purpose to them. Right? The guy enjoys something which, just for the sake of enjoyment. You have to refine that and transform it to holiness. So energy comes here. It ends up on the left side. It's now fueling and more than fueling, but driving a negative thing. Negative does not only mean unkosher or evil, but it's not holy. And our job is to go in there, harness the same energy, and use it for a good thing. So the internet, you can ban it and say this is pure evil because there's so much negativity there, and there is. Or you could say the way Chasidus says is we got to harness this for good. Got to go in there and use it out. Now, you have to make sure that you don't get stuck there. You have to make sure that it doesn't take you down. But the concept of general person has, let's say, a tendency to be very arrogant and a big shot, put other people down. He could work on himself and transform that midah to say, I have to be proud of who I am. I have to lift other people up. I have to have that Go'in Yaakov, the Jewish pride, etc. It's the same type of midah, but our job is to turn it around, bring it back to where it comes from, to Kedusha. in a way of bittul, where it's there's a humility, it's dedicated, it's devoted to Hashem.
That's why I use Chometz on Shavuot.
Exactly, because we reached a level where we could transform it. Lecha Hashem Agdula, we say in davening, to you Hashem is kindness and so on. The lecha means a bittul. So now the kindness is bottled to you Hashem, because kindness is not always bottled to Hashem. A person is kind. Yishmael was also had ava in him, had kindness. He's Avram's son. There's a lot of kindness there. But the kindness ended up in let's just say forbidden loves of various types, to put it mildly. You could categorize the particular act as
love.
Yeah. You could even call it that way.
Outside.
Right.
All you need is love.
Yeah. Now, how does this transformation happen? So the birur is with chachma. Ki b'chachma is beriru chulu. With chachma, it gets refined. So chachma is above wisdom, the three levels of intellect. Chacham bin adas, but wisdom is above the midas. Using that, it's discerning, and you're able to elevate and transform and refine the midas that you have in klipa, in unholiness. Chachma is the idea of light, to illuminate them and to purify them. And here's the answer to our question: why at night he lit all seven, and in the morning he lit only one? From there he began, from there he ended. With that he ended. Because at night there's darkness. It represents cheshech. That's what darkness is. That's what the night is about. And we have to transform those midas and the energy of those midas that ended up in dark places. You need extra light to do that. We need all seven candles burning bright to be able to transform the darkness, everything that represents, into light, to elevate it, to bring it back. You have to bring the midah of chachma into every single midah. By day, one is enough, because that's the main hashpah, and automatically the chachma comes into all the midahs. By day, it's light. One is enough; it'll go everywhere. But if it's
why is it even needed if it's light?
There's still transformation that has to happen. We're not saying there's no other side. It exists, but when you're dealing in the trenches, so to speak, in the very dark reality, you turn it around. People have midas that ended up in forbidden places and really bad places. One example that's brought is the Rabbi says, "What's a cheshach kafel u'mechuba? What's a darkness, a double darkness, where you're in the dark and he thinks this is light. This is the life, living the dream." In other words, there's one guy, he's in darkness and he knows this is a problem. I gotta get out of here. This is not okay. The other guy's there, he's like, no, I need more of this. This is good stuff. Right? It's like the drunk in the gutter. Asked him, well, why you spent all your money on the bottle of booze? You know, you could have gotten a loaf of bread, you could maybe get a night room for whatever. Save a little bit, tomorrow you get a room. What are you doing? He's like, a room, a loaf of bread, the whole Moscow is mine with this bottle. You're so dark, you think that it's light. Some people try to help them. They don't even get that there's a problem. They think it's good. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Shabbos and Baruch. We'll see you next week.
To heal.
Yes.
No time.